कि मीडिया कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस कर रही है इस पर्टिकुलर केस को?
मीडिया काफी इन्फ्लुएंस करती है कोई भी केस हो, एनी केस, एंड ही मस्ट हैव बीन मेंटली टॉर्चर्ड.
Why is 498A as an article so contentious and so controversial with people?
The contentious is it is being misused from the time of very inception, and FIR is lodged against them. It is the duty of the investigating agency to go into the details, investigate thoroughly before they file a charge sheet.
What, in your opinion, is the probability that Atul Subhash will get justice?
It's not a case of 498. It would be a case of 306 IP, abetment to suicide. He was instigated, he was tortured, but he must be in a mental trauma that he committed suicide. It is a case of 306 IP, abetment to suicide.
Is this a bailable or a non-bailable?
It's a non-bailable basis. It is tried by a court of session. And the police, if the people are arrested, the accused are arrested, they have to file a charge sheet between 60 days and 90 days.
Can we have certain amendments, changes to the law?
I don't think so.
Out of the 100 cases, 90 cases have to be found false.
Once the person is acquitted, the accused are acquitted, they also don't want to enter into further litigation.
So there is no law for women if they are found
Prosecuted, but normally it doesn't happen. I've not seen it.
How responsible in these cases are the families of if the wife is filing for 498A?
If they are any accused, if an FIR has been lodged, yes, they have to face the trial also. In most of these cases, in some cases, it's the ego of the families which also adds to the problems.
वेलकम टू द मेंटालिटी. आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही प्रोमिनेंट क्रिमिनल लॉयर है मिस्टर प्रवीण सेठ. आज हम बात करेंगे अबाउट द वेरी कंट्रोवर्शियल, वेरी सैड इंसिडेंट जो हुआ है अतुल सुभाष के साथ, अबाउट हिज सुसाइड एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. प्लस हम बात करेंगे बहुत ही कंट्रोवर्शियल 498A आर्टिकल की और नुआंसेस जानेंगे. आई होप यू वॉच द होल पॉडकास्ट और मिलते हैं पॉडकास्ट के बाद. क्या हाल है दोस्तों? वेलकम टू द मेंटालिटी. टुडे इज अ वेरी स्पेशल डे एंड we have with us today Mr. Praveen Seth, who is an accomplished criminal lawyer and he's been in this field for over 40-45 years. We have been wanting him to come on board for the podcast and he is here with us today. बहुत अच्छी conversation, बहुत लंबी conversation होने वाली है, बहुत detailed में conversation होने वाली है. I hope you enjoy the conversation and let's get right into it. So first off sir, thank you so much for coming and making some time off from your busy schedule. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, without wasting any time, there are a lot of things that we want to cover and discuss in this episode of the podcast. पर एक चीज़ मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ. I'm pretty sure आपने you must be following the Atul Subhash suicide case and all of that, and how the proceedings have been. So just to give you a slight bit of a background about what basically a recap. Obviously everybody knows about what happened. There was a 24-page suicide note and a 1 hour 20-minute video recording of his death that he recorded before he passed away, unfortunately. काफ़ी रेवलिंग चीज़ें आई हैं. तो मैं आपको बेसिकली आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि जो मीडिया होती है उसको कभी कभार हाइप कर देती है, उसको इन्फ्लुएंस कर देती है, पब्लिक परसेप्शन को इन्फ्लुएंस कर देती है. फ्रॉम अ पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ अ कॉमन पर्सन कि मीडिया कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस कर रही है इस पर्टिकुलर केस को?
मीडिया काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस करती है कोई भी केस हो, एनी केस. The way they report it, that has a bearing on the public perception. Like in this case, it's a suicide. Unfortunate. There was marital discord. There was litigation going on between the wife and the husband. And he has made certain allegations against the investigating agency also, against the judiciary also. And he must have been mentally tortured and he committed the offense.
मेन चीज़ आती है सर with regards to the very contentious law that is the 498A law. So I just wanted and वो 498 law लगाया है this उनकी वाइफ ने निकिता सिंघानिया ने उनकी फैमिली ने 498 का which basically constitutes on to cruelty towards women, and whether it's dowry harassment, sexual harassment, emotional harassment, domestic abuse का case encapsulate करता है 498A, and it's a false case. Again, that's still in the courts right now कि वो prove होगा कि नहीं होगा. तो I just want to understand ये why is 498A as an article so contentious and so controversial with people? Why is that, sir?
498A was introduced somewhere in 83 or 84. Prior to that, there was no section like 498A. And it is basically causing cruelty to a woman by husband or his relatives. The contention says it is being misused from the time of very inception. Suppose there is a marital discord between the husband and the wife. The first thing if they go into litigation is all the relatives are named in the FIR. It could be to pressurize, to come to out of court settlement. It could be to make some money out of it. Besides alimony, that the courts will educate and give them. That's not the issue.
Right.
But it was basically blackmailing, I feel, of the husband and his family.
Right.
Maybe the husband has demanded something, or he has done cruelty. Doesn't mean his grandparents and parents and sisters and brothers all should be proper.
Right.
And if an FIR is lodged against them, it is the duty of the investigating agency to go into the details, investigate thoroughly before they file a charge sheet.
Right, right. So sir, इसमें अभी जो proceedings हो रहे हैं with this अतुल सुभाष case and all of that, अभी it's obviously it's not proven, अभी it's just speculation and the details are still coming out with this particular case. What in your opinion is the probability that Atul Subhash will get justice, or is there a very low probability because the laws are biased and skewed towards women, unfortunately? So is there a chance of Atul Subhash getting any kind of justice in the near future and in the future proceedings? Is that a possibility?
See, Atul Subhash case, it's not a case of 498A. It would be a case of 306 IPCI, abetment to suicide. Against 498 and 306 in this particular case are totally different.
Right.
And to prove abetment is difficult.
Right. Why is that, sir?
You have to prove that he was instigated, he was tortured.
Right.
Immediately before the act. Here, if I remember correctly, they were living separately.
Right.
And at different places. But he must be in a mental trauma that he committed the suicide.
Right.
But 498A doesn't have any bearing on this case. It is a case of 306 IPC.
Okay. 306 would be what exactly?
Abetment to suicide.
Abetment to suicide. So abetment to suicide, तो केस आई थिंक बाद में लगा if after he committed
that would be after
he
after the death.
And is this a bailable or a non-bailable?
It's a non-bailable offence. It is tried by a court of session.
Right.
It's a serious offence.
Right. So what is the duration, the proceedings का कितना वो पीरियड होता है जब हम ये डिसाइड करेंगे कि ये चलता रहेगा, ये बेल एप्लीकेशंस, वो आई एम प्रीटी श्योर दे मस्ट बी फाइलिंग फॉर बेल एप्लीकेशंस एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट.
अभी तो देखिए इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं होगा ये
जी.
And the police, if the people are arrested, the accused are arrested, they have to file a charge sheet between 60 days and 90 days if they are in judicial custody.
जी जी.
Depending on the gravity of the offence.
Right, right. So
उसके बाद then it comes to the court.
Right.
Then the magistrate commits it to the court of session where the hearing it takes time. As our system is 5 years, 6 years, 5 years. If they are on bail, if they are under trial, it is a little speedy.
Speedy. So अभी तो they are on bail right now.
I don't think so. I'm not very sure. They have been arrested.
They have been arrested. उसके बाद I think कोई details आया नहीं है.
आया नहीं है. Bail हो गई है तो then there is no embargo on the investigating agency to submit it within 60 days or 90 days.
Right.
Then they take a little more time also.
Right, right. So, sir, taking cue from this, what do you think should be a remedy for, I would say, men in general? Yeah, are these laws biased? Can we have certain amendments, changes to the law that are more equal and doesn't skew towards any kind of gender? Is there a possibility in the near future to?
I don't think so.
Why
Because
is that?
this has to be by a legislation. The parliament has to do it.
Right.
And there will be a lot of hue and cry that women are not being protected by the opposition or the ruling party, whosoever is in power and whosoever is in opposition. One party will, one definitely oppose it.
Right.
And it has to be by a act of parliament.
Right.
So I don't see it happening in the near future.
Right.
But the saving grace is there was a Supreme Court ruling in Arnesh Kumar case in which in offence punishment until 7 years the police couldn't arrest a person
Right.
without prior permission. That is a saving grace for the husband and his family at the moment.
Right.
Otherwise, the FIR was lodged one day and the third day all of them were behind the bars.
Right. Right.
And bail was also tough. The judiciary also didn't take it very seriously.
Right.
10 दिन रख लो, 15 दिन रख लो, फिर बेल दे देंगे. I have seen in my case only. लेकिन 1 महीने बाद सुनेंगे. That is not done, but it happened. Now they cannot arrest him. So that's the saving. The husband can let them investigate it, file a charge sheet.
Right.
He'll get bail. If he is guilty, he'll be punished.
Right. Right, sir. सर इसमें जैसे केसेस कभी कभार फॉल्स केसेस हो जाते हैं. दे आर रिपोर्टेड एंड आई वाज डूइंग माय रिसर्च एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. आई फाउंड आउट दैट out of their 100 cases, 90 cases are to be found false. In that case, what kind of repercussions do women have to face if it's found out that they made a false case? उस टाइम पे क्या प्रोसीडिंग्स होती हैं? जज क्या, लॉयर्स क्या उनको उनकी प्रोसीडिंग्स में उनको कैसे बेनिफिट करते हैं? जज क्या बोलता है अगर वो फॉल्स केस पता चल जाता है कि ये फॉल्स केस है? इन दैट सिनेरियो व्हाट इज द?
देखिए प्रैक्टिकली कुछ नहीं होता है. Once the person is acquitted, the accused are acquitted. They also don't want to enter into further litigation. They file for damages. They spend money on court fees.
So there is no law if, for women if they are found that
Practically
no.
On theoretically, yes, for giving false evidence, you could be prosecuted, but normally it doesn't happen. I've not seen it.
Okay, and why is that, sir? Why, is it?
See, when the judgment is given by a judicial officer,
Right.
he'll say it is not worthy of belief.
Correct.
It
Right.
cannot be believed.
Right.
And that you can go into appeal, and that doesn't mean it's a false case.
Right.
Unless the court writes it's a totally false case, totally contorted, which doesn't happen.
Right, sir.
And even then,
Right.
to take action against the woman is very tough.
So, sir, do you think that laws like 498A and all of that, these laws should have provisions and equal protection to both genders in domestic relationships? क्या ऐसा होना चाहिए?
The 490A is probably made for offenses against women. And women, there have been cases, there were initially, where wrong was done to them. But even lawyers are to be blamed for it. The investigation, it has been misused.
Right. So has it been a kind of a nexus between the lawyers, the judiciary, higher ups in the...
No, not the lawyer and the judiciary, the investigating agency, the police and the complainant.
Right.
Yes.
So has it become more like a extortion racket?
Yes, it has become extortion racket. It is in most of the cases, it's an extortion racket.
Right.
There are cases where a person has filed for divorce of a husband.
Right.
And subsequent to that of 498A,
Right.
FIR has been lodged. In one of my cases, after 20 years of marriage,
Right.
a college-going kid,
Uh,
there was a marital discord. and a 498A case has been registered.
Right. So,
On the face of it, it's wrong. For 20 years, they are living together, and then there's allegation of dowry
after 20 years.
after 20 years. The mistaken agency should not register these cases or close them.
So ultimately, the whole goal is to extort money from
Yeah.
husband.
On the side of the woman, yes. From the husband and his family.
So in most of the cases, then what happens in most of these cases, as the laws are skewed towards women, the judges also take the side of the women only and try to give them alimony or whatever.
Alimony is different. 498 and alimony is different. Alimony, there is a separate case for maintenance.
Maintenance.
And there on the income of the husband, proportionally they give alimony. If the wife is not working, if she is unable to maintain us.
Right.
498 and they are not correlated.
But I want to ask you, sir, when a woman is extremely capable of providing for herself, she's working, she's doing decently well for herself, financially she's very stable, and in spite of that, they go to the court and say that I need money for my kid or for myself or whatever, demanding in crores and all of that. And the judiciary also, in this particular case also, Atul Subhash's case, the sitting judge said, I'm forgetting the name of the judge, she said ki you have to give her it started off from a crore, went up to about 3 crores what the Singhaniyas were asking from Atul Subhash's family, and the judge said that you give me 5 lakhs plus whatever and we'll settle that matter. And why is it so blatant that a sitting judge has the audacity to say this in a public forum, plus you're in court, and it's not that you're having this conversation in a small room where there are no cameras, no other witnesses. You're openly, brazenly asking for bribes to settle the case. How do you think that, is it justified? Shouldn't the judge be prosecuted or be held accountable for making such error judgments or biased judgments? What do you think, sir?
See, for biased judgments, there's always an appeal. But as far as asking for money goes, the High Court should take a look into the matter, and I hope they will. It's only an allegation, mind you, at the moment.
Right.
And unfortunately, the person is no more. Let them investigate it, inquire about it, and then come to a conclusion.
Is this a regular affair that?
No, I don't think so. It's not that blatant. It happens. Like all parts of society, even there are some judicial officers who do it, but not as blatant as you think. You walk into the chamber, give money and get things done. No. And at least not in Uttarakhand.
Right. So, sir, in this case, I want to understand that if suppose in the relationship, if say the woman is not mentally stable and has some mental issues and all of that, have been making rounds to the psychiatrist. Mentally, she's not too stable and all of that. She's been on medication also. And in the due course, she files the 498A. How do you think the court will take cognizance of the fact that there might be an issue, or will the court probably say that you are not enough good mental stable and we can't go ahead with this case?
The court comes later in that. First, the investigating agency has to look, the police has to look at it. They can see the document, they can close the case. The judicial will not come in the picture. Suppose they file a charge sheet, and when the trial comes, then the judicial will take cognizance of this fact also, definitely. Whether they believe it or not believe, whether it is worthy of believing or not, it's up to the judicial officer.
Right. So, in a majority of the cases, what I was doing my research and trying to figure out why this is happening. So, what I have found that in majority of these cases, nothing generally happens. It's majority of the times that द जुडिशरी हैज़ पास द केसेस एंड उनको बोल दिया गया बेसिकली कि आपको इतना पैसा करना है, आपको डील कर देंगे, आप इतना पैसा ले लीजिए एंड वो. सो कमिंग फ्रॉम अ पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ अ मैन, he goes through a lot of turmoil, a lot of physical, mental stress as well. So don't you think the lawyers, the higher ups in the judiciary should take cognizance of the fact that it's affecting that person's mental health also, and shouldn't be too harsh in terms of making out certain judgments and all of that? Does that come into consideration, the mental health part?
As far as judiciary goes, they decide at least on the evidence which is adduced before them.
Right.
And then it is up to the judicial officer how he looks at things. Suppose it goes against the government, he can always file an appeal against it.
Right.
It's not the final, the magistrate's judgment is not final. You can appeal to a superior forum.
The superior forum
it could be the district judge, and then you can go to the high court. But first thing is the investigation agency has to be fair, not biased. 80% of the cases would be closed there only if they take a reasonable view.
But what do you think, sir? At the time you just mentioned that this 498A has been a part of the law and all of that since 84. When they were I totally get the fact that women in this country have been mistreated through domestic violence, alimony, all of that things, which is fair enough. But now what has happened, there's been far too many cases where it's been misused or not. The higher ups in the judiciary also are, I'm pretty sure that they also must be knowing that this is actually a fact. But why isn't it a major talking point with politicians? Why aren't they coming forward? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are going to be making policies, making laws and all of that. They are lawmakers. Why I haven't seen any major politician talking about this? Or why do you think that is?
The Supreme Court is seized of the matter. They have passed certain observation in many cases that it is being misused, and there should be a legislation to curb it. Or curb it or change it, you could call it. But nothing is happening. No one is ready to build the cat in the parliament.
Not only making small amendments or reforms.
They have not done. Only saving grace is the Anesh Kumar case which I told you, where you cannot arrest a person. That is a soothing grace. नहीं तो it was terrible for the husband and his family. आज FIR हुई, कल पहुँच गए, चलो जी, या तो उनसे सेटल करो पुलिस से भी, और या अंदर जाओ और फिर बेल कराओ. That has stopped, definitely.
So what, in your view, what's your view on the practice of immediate arrests? Again, you just mentioned in the 498A, without any investigation, any proper paperwork done. What would be more of a balanced approach here?
Now they cannot arrest in 498 only. After this, because it is offence punishable in 3 years, and Supreme Court says if the offence is punishable till 7 years, you need not arrest. Without prior permission or show to the magistrate there are reasons that why you have to arrest. So now that part is no more. But yes, still there are investigations and 14%, 10%, and you charge them. That's also a trauma for them to face the trial, to get themselves bailed out, and go around the court for quite some time. Like our system is working. The officers are also overburdened. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So that's also a trauma. Suppose they are charge sheeted and the proceedings are not quashed. That's also a trauma. So investigating agency has to be also more responsible.
So why do you think what's the hindrance? Is it because everybody wants to make money? Is that a problem?
That is also. And there are political interference also for one party or the other, either for the accused or for the complaining.
Right.
That's also there. Money is also there. अब महिला सेल बन गए हैं सब जगह कि पहले हम आ जाएंगे. They are also trying to settle it for obvious reasons. बहुत कम होता है जहाँ कुछ नहीं होता कि कोर्ट तक जाए. It's a vicious circle.
It is a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle.
It is from your point of view as a criminal lawyer, what are the major difficulties in defending someone that's accused under 498A, and how do you navigate cases where the evidence is circumstantial or based on emotional testimony?
See, our job is to cross-examine the witness on the facts as the client believes us and what the police has filed the charge sheet for. And then you cross-examine and then you argue. And it's for the court to adjudicate on the basis of the previous law whether a case is made up or not.
Ideally, sir, when this kind of thing really happens, what is the timeline like? What's the probability of cases like these being settled, say in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, or it takes even more time than that? So, how many at an average? How much time does it take for?
It depends on these places. Where Delhi, they give you a date of 4 months, 6 months at a time. There it takes a lot of time. In smaller states like ours, it is not that bad. Now there are more judicial officers. Work is also manageable, but still 3, 4, 5 years like that. If they are on bail.
If they are on bail.
And now they are on bail in 498, they cannot be behind the bars.
Right. You're saying that it depends on the case also, as to how much time it might take.
It doesn't depend on the case. Depends on the burden of the courts also. See, we suppose there are witnesses in 10 cases. All 10 cannot be done on the same day. Some adjournments are taken. Sometimes the defense takes the judgment or the prosecution does not produce the evidence. So it takes time. Like the system is. It's nothing time bound there. Unless there is specific direction from the superior court.
Right.
To finish off this case in 6 months or 1 year, whatever. Which normally courts don't do. Unless there is a very old case.
Right. So, sir, in case, what advice or suggestion or unsolicited advice you might give to generally people who go through this 498A? How can they defend themselves if they are wrongly accused? How can they defend themselves? What advice would you give them?
See, the allegations have to be made by the wife and they have to be met by the husband. Suppose there is a demand of dowry. See, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs.
It's a hypothetical where it's absolutely false. Whatever the allegation the wife has made against the husband, they're all false. In that scenario, what should a man do?
He has to defend himself still. He has to face the trial. That's the unfortunate part of it. Or either the investigating agency closes it. There is prima facie no case is made out. Otherwise, the court procedure is the same, whether it's a false case or a genuine case, so-called genuine case. The court procedure is the same then.
Court procedure is the same. Right. In your personal experience, have you come across any such cases, and what was the outcome like? Obviously, we don't name anybody, but in your personal past experiences, how many cases or any specific case that you remember was on the similar lines, and what was the outcome and how did it work out?
What case are you talking about?
498.
498. 498, there are lots of cases. Mostly false, I feel.
Okay. So you handled those false cases also?
Yeah.
You were from the...
No, from the defense mostly. From the accused, husband side.
Okay, so you were from
or
the
our family, yeah.
Husband side. So they've been found...
not guilty.
Not guilty.
But it takes time. It's not a question after 8 years or 5 years you are found guilty. But your 5 years have been wasted. In the trauma, litigation is expensive also. Coming, suppose a person from Delhi has to face a trial in Delhi. It's a trauma for him or his family.
Yes.
Or from any other place.
Yes.
But mostly cases like these, then they are also compromised during the trial also.
During the trial also.
Because when the girl sees that there is no chance of success, they try to negotiate for some ABC amount which both parties are willing, and it settles down. They don't give testimony in the court and it finishes. That is the basic purpose also for most of the.
If you could just give us a slight bit of an insight about the case, would be really interesting about this particular case that you spoke of, where the husband was accused, and if you can just give us slight details on what the proceedings were and how he was not found guilty and all of that. Could you just give us a slight bit of a insight on that, sir?
This was a case, one particular case I can tell you. They were married for about 14 years.
14 years, right.
They had a college going kid. And after that, because of other reasons, the husband was also to be blamed for the reasons, there was discord. And what the lady does is file a case against the husband and his mother and sister. That time 490 in the Arnesh Kumar ruling was not invoked. So we took a stay from the High Court against the arrest. But the police filed a charge sheet. The lady's father was a JCO in the army, retired JCO, with 4 or 5 issues. And the allegation was they are asking for 50 lakhs.
50 lakhs?
50 lakhs. And the husband's property by himself or his wife must be in crores.
Okay.
So that is on the ground on which we contested. They are in not a position to pay anything. And when they are not in a position to pay, how can we demand? Suppose my capacity to pay 1 lakh. Somebody demands 50 lakhs, can I do it? But the court found reason in it. If there was mental torture or cruelty, why after 15 years, 14 years? And the case was acquitted.
Right. So, what is the scenario like if the husband says that he's accused of 498A, he's in court, and the judge says that why aren't you paying up, and he says he's not employed, he doesn't have a job at this point in time, and the demands made by the wife are absolutely atrocious, to speak, asking for crores. In this same case with the Atul Subhash, comes from a middle class family who has a blue collar job, working as a manager in a multinational company. He, at the end of the day, he is a salaried man, right? And what happens is, when he says I don't have money, I cannot give, what is the option left with the man then? If he says this is my income, he says that this is my income, and I don't have a job also now because I'm not able to give my 100% in the job, and it's taking a toll on me mentally. मतलब mentally इतना ज़्यादा pressure है कि काम भी नहीं कर पा रहे, वो job छोड़ दी उन्होंने, ठीक है, और मेरे पे पैसे नहीं है. उस टाइम पे जज कंसिडर करेगा वो अमाउंट जो अक्यूज ने लगाया है, उसको कम करेगा. डू दे टेक दिस इनटू कंसिडरेशन?
See, there are two different things here. 498 में नहीं होता है ये.
अच्छा.
उसमें तो there is out of court settlement, then you settle for a B amount. As far as the quantum of maintenance goes, it is within the purview of the family court.
Okay.
Where the court decides on the income of the wife, his other of the husband and his other responsibilities. 498A में पैसे के बाद जब ये आती है, when there is a out of court settlement. Otherwise 498 में there is no provision maintenance be granted. Maybe in Domestic Violence Act that's another act, or under 125 CRPC maintenance, or other laws, but not in 498.
So it's not specific to 498?
No. They try not to give any maintenance in 498. And nobody asks for it also.
Actually, nobody asks. So that's a separate...
That's a separate.
Right. So, sir, another very important question I had in mind was that how responsible in these cases are the families of the accused, or probably if the wife is filing for 498A, how much influence does the family have on the court proceedings and all of that? Because in many cases at times when the cases cases are put on individuals, there are a lot of relatives also that come into the picture and all of that. So in your opinion, what is their contribution, or what is their effect on the cases and all of that, and are they also taken into task, the relatives?
If they are any accused, if an FIR has been lodged, yes, they have to face the trial also. And most of these cases, in some cases, it's the ego of the families which also adds to the problems. Otherwise, there is a marital discord. People are, two individuals are not willing to live together. Might as well go for a divorce.
Correct.
But no. Suppose the husbands are wrong, are in the wrong at times also, I won't say that. But then the families come into play, settle the matter. Either you live together or you part gracefully, that depends.
Sure. Right. So, in majority of the cases, so as you know, the laws are skewed and all of that. Going forward now, sir, because I just saw many men's rights activists calling out parliamentarians and politicians to do it. What will it take to make these changes happen, sir?
The political will.
Do you think that
I don't think so.
In the near future,
No.
that happening? No. Why is that, sir?
Because see, women have been wronged also. I won't say that.
Yeah, that is agreed.
Women have been wronged.
Right.
And now no party would pass a legislation saying कि नहीं.
No, but they can obviously have reforms and amendments like immediate arrest, like in this
वो
case.
हो गया. That is now. अरे immediate arrest नहीं होगी अब. 498 में. See, it's a case of dowry death. Yes, that's different. Where the lady loses her life in unnatural section. That is different. 498, there's no arrest now. Only in exceptional circumstances with the permission of the magistrate. That is not an issue now. For the last 4 or 5 years, that is not an issue.
So that you don't see that happening in the near future with the politicians and
No, I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so.
So is it because they think that it will be too contentious, too controversial?
Yeah, too contentious.
Right.
And there will be opposition to it.
From all quarters of
From all quarters.
Right.
The women and being wrong, not taking care of women and etc. etc. I don't see that happening.
But what about those legitimate cases? वो legitimate cases उसका क्या होगा कि the man has been he has suffered this case itself, he's lost his life and all of that. Then who do they look towards to get justice? Then what is?
See, I'm repeating again. That is up to the investigating agency to investigate it thoroughly. And they find that the husband has been wronged or his family has been wronged. They close the case then and there. Why should it come to the judiciary?
Right.
There should be a thorough investigation under the supervision of a senior officer, and they look into it. Most of the cases shouldn't come to the courts.
So finally, I just wanted to ask, how can the public be better at being educated about the nuances of Section 498A and to ensure that it is applied properly, and that both men and women can seek justice in domestic disputes without fear of wrongful charges or victimization?
See, the husband, the girl and the boy, they have to decide. If there is a marital discord for any reason, they can sit and compromise it with their families or through a mediation cell. That will solve most of the problems. But if both of them are willing to settle. 498 is when one of the parties is not willing to, the lady is not willing to compromise. And then maybe there's a unjust demand of dowry or alimony, you could call it. Dowry, I wouldn't say alimony. To settle it, 498 cases are used as a pressure tactic.
As a pressure tactic.
As a pressure tactic.
So that you get a better negotiated
You
deal.
get a better negotiation.
Right.
I've got a gentleman bailed out some years ago. He was the father of the husband. He couldn't walk, he was bedridden, and he came to the court in an ambulance to get himself bailed out. And wait to, because the court के आप कोर्ट के बाहर जाके उसे कस्टडी में ले लीजिए, कोर्ट में भी नहीं आ सकता. Even there, these cases shouldn't come to the courts.
And then there is no respite as well.
No respect. And after he was bailed out, there it was compromised. Some whatever money, I don't remember now, they gave. आदमी परेशान होकर भी पैसा दे देता है.
पर परेशान, करेक्ट ऐसे. True. Sir, before we wind up, I just wanted to ask you about these younger generations who are trying to get into the law field. What would your advice be to them into taking up litigation, criminal law, and what is it towards an interest that aspiring lawyer wants to get into the litigation side of things, the criminal elements, the criminal side of things? आप क्या इसको एडवाइस करोगे? टू what kind of law you should pursue?
Wherever your interest was, go into it. But be prepared. It takes time to build up your practice and settle. It's not an overnight thing. Very few people are fortunate. 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, you come to know the hang of things. Wherever you're interested, go into it. Criminal litigation, it's interesting at the district level also. But first go into the district level. So you know how the trial goes. And then you can go to the appellate courts also later. But if you have a basic knowledge of the trial court, it will help you in your future, always.
Right. Perfect, sir. That was a great session. I've had a lovely chat with you. I don't know how to thank you. You've been too busy and you've been gracious enough to take out time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Yash.
I had a great conversation. I would want to reiterate this again, sir, कि जब भी आपके पास time हो, again we would love to have you over and have.
I'll be here whenever you want.
It was an absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. So guys, ये थी हमारी conversation on the mentality today with Mr. प्रवीण सेठ. हमने बहुत सारी चीज़ों के बारे में बात करी. हमने जो अभी अनफॉर्चुनेट इंसिडेंट हुआ है अतुल सुभाष का, उसके बारे में बात करी है. हमने 498 लॉ के बारे में बात करी है. कितना कंटेंशियल, कितना कंट्रोवर्शियल टॉपिक है. काफ़ी चीज़ें कवर करी है. आई होप यू एंजॉयड द कॉन्वर्सेशन. और अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो, प्लीज़ मेक श्योर यू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू द मेंटालिटी. थैंक्स.